Welcome. Just like the intro says, come on in, take your shoes off.
Take them off.
We're about to have some uncomfortable conversations,
yes,
but we know that's where the truth lies. I'm super excited. First of all, Floyd, how's your weekend so far?
Man, it's been pretty awesome. I'm like,
what?
Man, yes.
Okay, yes. Floyd.
Man.
That was... Floyd usually give us like my weekend was good. It was all right. Man, he hit us with the awesome, like
the day ain't even over yet.
Yeah,
the weekend is only one day in.
You know, I help other people get stuff done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. Awesome. I love it. But when I actually get something done myself, that's just like wow.
So wow. In essence, you put you first.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Yeah.
See what that feels like?
Yeah.
We need to do that more often.
I mean, you can get a whole lot more done when you actually do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah.
That is true. I am super excited about today's show. This has been a long time coming. Man. She even checked me one time. She was like, you've been telling me about this show I'm supposedly supposed to be on, and I ain't heard nothing yet. And I was stuck. Like, you couldn't say nothing.
Right.
And really and truly, with having a conversation with her when it pertains to Black history, really talking to anybody, it's one of those things that's so spiritual for me. And so it's almost like I do have to be prepared to have that conversation, because when I have that conversation, I feel like mentally drained. Like I just played 6 hours of basketball and I ain't got nothing left. But it's so fulfilling. Like, I feel so poured into. And like you said, I'm one of those people that I always pour into other people. Right. So when I'm being poured into, it's just, I want to woosah.
Right.
But without further ado, I want to introduce a dear friend, Natasha Alston. Y'all, if she seems a little socially awkward, she doesn't like being in front of cameras.
At all.
But when I tell you a wealth of not just Black history information, but just information in general, she's so in touch with everything, her surroundings, her community. She's such a great friend and family. Like, we look at her and her husband and her family, and they're the kind of family, like, you look at them and be like, okay, I want that. If my relationship don't look like that, I don't want it. I don't want it. They have the best, when her and her husband together, they're like best friends. You forget that they're married. And they just, and
that's what happens when you start at like 17, though.
Yeah.
I've been with him longer than I've been by myself.
So he is, in essence, a part of you.
Yeah, he is a part of me.
Hey. Well, like I said, I probably added the whipped cream and strawberries on this introduction, but it was well worth it. And without further ado, Natasha Alston.
Hello, everyone.
Yes,
hello.
welcome.
Hi. Thank you for inviting me. You did ask me a long time ago.
See?
And I was like, okay, whenever, let me know. And another year went by, and then every time
it was not a year.
Okay, let me tell tell you the last time?
Oh, never mind. I
Okay.
forgot she has a brain like a steel trap. So
Yeah,
she
that's
about
what
to give me
I've
the
been
date and the time
Yes.
and what was going on in her life when I told. No, that's all right. Well, I'm gonna take that one. I'm gonna take that one.
Take that one. Okay, good. Then I don't have to pull out no receipts.
Okay. No, we don't need the receipts. We really don't need the receipts. But I'm super excited about today's topic because as our audience knows, our viewers know, we have really kind of dove into Black history. We're doing the segments and series on Black history as it pertains to Black literacy, the community, culture, sports, and everything else that pertains to it. And we have had subject matter experts on that kind of gave us and enlightened us on our culture. But Natasha has been doing this in the school setting for 26 years. And I'm sure that it far surpasses the 26 years of her knowledge. And so the topic today was, if when I say it, it sounds broad. It's very broad, and I purposely left it as a broad title because I wanted her to really elaborate on it and take it in a direction that would kind of bring out some of the information that I might not be able to phrase the question in a way that would bring it out. And so what we're talking about today is, are we repeating or fulfilling Black history? I can gloss over it, but I don't want to gloss over it. I talked to Natasha about it prior to us coming on. And so I want her to pretty much take this segment over. If you guys online have questions or what have you, just if we see them in the comments, we will pose those questions. Or if you're listening or paying attention or watching, and you have something you want to ask Natasha, I will try to document it and then pose the question to her when she's completed. But when you hear that, are we repeating or fulfilling Black history? What comes to mind?
Well, like I said earlier, I think it's a great question, but I think we have to realize how complex the question is that you're asking. Because are we repeating it? No. Are we taking some steps back? Absolutely. But what we've done is our ancestors' wildest dreams. I mean, the fact that you here in this room with another young man who is running a podcast and allowing Black history to be told, our ancestors were not thinking that was it. They were like thinking freedom and education. We've surpassed that. So we've absolutely fulfilled those things. But there's some challenges, a lot of challenges. And I will say that, I was just speaking with a friend earlier about some fears, like what, 45, 47, the Orange Man, whatever you choose to identify him as, is doing to Black history. I don't even think we can say that we're going back. I think that this is new, uncharted territory, because I don't think we ever thought we'd be in a place where we would have to fight again like this just to tell the stories that we already have access to. You can't put it back in the box. Like, the stories are out. They've been out for several years, and now people have podcasts. We have an AP African American Studies class. I have been teaching AP African American History or African American History for 25 years. I can't stop that. Like, you can't. I have white students in my class. I have Hispanic kids. I have Native kids, and they want to know. So we're not in a vacuum anymore. We're not in a place where we can go, oh, I didn't know that. No, you can find that out. You can look that up by yourself. And every day should be a day that you're learning something. It was when you came out to get me, a friend of mine who we went on a teacher institute this past summer, and we've become fast friends. My dear Denise, out in Harlem, Brooklyn, New York. She went to this event, and I grew up in New York. I was born in the Bronx, and it's called the Pinkney. And I had never heard of it. And she was like, neither have I. and she was also born. And it is literally a mansion that we passed our entire lives. I know exactly where she's talking about. And this mansion, you can go on a tour on it every day. It is open to the public. They tell you the story of the the wealthy family who lived there, and all the other stuff. And once a year, this particular weekend, they open it up and they tell you about the people that ran it. And the people that ran it were freed and enslaved Africans who came together and they drummed, they celebrated ancestors, and they've been doing it for years. And I was like, well, when was somebody gonna tell us that? And she was like, well, when you come to New York, I'll introduce you to the woman, and we're gonna. And I'm like, the history is
People need to
there.
know.
The history is there. We just have to go look for it, and no one can take that away. This is one of the reasons why being a teacher is so great for me, because what I know and what I share with my students, yeah, sure, take it out of the African American History Museum in DC. But you can't take it out of me. I've been there. Every time I go to DC, I stop it. Every time I go, I see learn something new. So go ahead, close the building. Close the building. But what has already been learned and taught and shared is not going. So are we going back? You can't put the cat back in the box. You can't put that away. But we're in uncharted territory because we're going to now have to really be active about sharing it. It's not even so much the knowing, it's the sharing, right? I was just telling you guys earlier that a couple of days ago, I was listening to a podcast because I'm also a big podcast. I'm going to put you on circulation. And in it, this lady, so my master's degree from Cornell was about the Brown versus Board education decision. And it was something that had always perplexed me because I knew what Thurgood Marshall and NAACP was doing. They were doing a good thing. They were shining the light on segregation. Something about it felt incomplete. And I wrote my master's thesis on it, 170 something pages. If you go to Cornell, you can look it up and open it up. It's there. And just a couple of weeks ago, I learned that the parents that were part, so everyone knows Sarah Brown. She is the name. So Brown versus Board of Education. There's actually 5 families. She's one of 5 families. And the 5 families aren't only in Kansas, because they're all over the South. And the NAACP came in and they said, your family's the perfect to do it, because to go to the segregated school, your daughter has to go all the way here, and she's passing. And the family protested. They did not want that. They did not want it. And it wasn't that they didn't want integration. They didn't want their children to be stripped of something that they knew the kids were going to miss out on. And what I mean by that is, if we just, like, on a critical basis think, Thurgood Marshall went to an all-black school. A segregated school. Martin Luther King went to a segregated school. All of our leaders that we highlight went to segregated schools that had black teachers among black students. That, like, you've heard it. Wait till you get home. And on the way home, everybody's beating you because you done got in trouble in school. And by the time mommy and daddy don't even have to come after you because the village stepped in, right? That was in the schools. Well, when we integrated, we gave that up. We gave up. Black teachers lost their jobs. Black books no longer. They didn't. Yeah, we were teaching kids that still had books that were saying that they were enslaved. Yeah, the books were there, but the teachers had the knowledge. So the teachers probably, all right, so we're going to talk about Abraham Lincoln, but let me tell you the other side of the story, right? That's what they were getting. They were getting what I'm giving my kids now. That was gone. And they went and sat in classrooms where they were, my thesis is called Badge of Inferiority. And the reason that I use that, and if I could now, in my 50s, to go back and redo it, it would probably still have the same thing, but I would rework it differently, because what I wanted to argue, almost 30 years ago, was the way that it was phrased. implied that we were inferior and we needed to sit next to white children to feel validated. That's not it. And what the white parents heard, so this is me being clear, what the white parents were hearing is something is wrong with those kids, and now you want to bring those inferior kids to come sit next to my children. That's, I can understand it. Think about it. You have kids?
Yeah.
Would you want, if you knew that this person, there was something wrong with this person, would you want your kid to sit next to them? Mm-hmm. Probably not, especially back then, especially with all the messages. So it needed to be argued that both Black children and white children were experiencing inferiority because they were not sharing the common knowledge. What they were instead told is that there's something in that white school that is better, superior, and what we're going to do is move these kids to come over here. That's not a good message.
Do you think, like, I know now hindsight is 2020, the message that was sending when you look back on it now, do you think it was more of a ploy because they saw where it was going with the education of the Black history with the Black kids, and they wanted to, all right, we gotta intervene into that and kind of put a white spin on it to where
I don't think it had
we water it down.
I don't think it had anything to do with it. Personally, they knew children are strength. Judges were going to have to look at children and deny the children something. Black or white, didn't matter. The children. They had already tried the college level. You know, you have SWET, which is another school case, but it's on the college level. No, they used the children because the children, it was easier to have that be the face. Mm-hmm. To put my face, your face in front of integration, said, you're a scary man, I'm, angry Black woman, we don't want to be near us. That sounds different. Mm-hmm. That says
that's not going to send the right message.
No, but if you say, it's kind of like why SWET works.
What is SWET?
SWET is another lawsuit that was I'm going to remember the name of it after I'm done with you. But it basically what happens with SWET, it is the case that comes right before Brown, and it is a law school. So he is in. I'm gonna forgive me for those of you guys who know exactly off the top of your head, but I'm gonna say it's Texas, and he wanted to go to law school. And they said, we're going to create a new law school for you. And so you probably have seen the pictures. He is there, the white students are on the inside of the classroom, and he's sitting on the outside of the classroom, right? And so what they wanted, what the NAACP was arguing was, you lawyers know what it takes to be in law school. You need law professors. You need people who've had accreditation. You need all these things to have a proper law school. You can't have because what this is where, and I'm almost, it's either Texas or Louisiana. It's one of them southern states. And what they said, what they were going to say was, yes, it's separate but equal, separate but equal, separate but equal, separate but equal. And they were like, okay, but he's in the school by himself. Who is he going to debate with? You know what it takes to be a lawyer? These Supreme Court justices know what it takes to be a lawyer. Who's he going to debate if he's by himself in the classroom? What textbooks is he going to read from? He needs the most up-to-date textbooks in order to study the law. He can't have that. He needs professors that are going to be there to ask him questions, answer his questions, and him ask them questions, and them ask him questions. He's not going to have any of that. So is this really law school? And they looked out, and they're, I'm a judge. I know what it took for me to be here. I know what my practice is. I know what and they said no. So they told the state, you have to create a law school for him. And they were like, okay. And like all white supremacists, it, they were like, we will. And they were like, no, 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 not we will. We are going to create one. So what they did was they created a school. They first tried by like creating a separate school, and then that didn't work. And then they were like, okay, he can go to school with them, and it was them in the classroom and then on the outside. And but it was the first like hammer in separate but equal. First hammer in Jim Crow segregation, all of that. And so they then were able to build on that to create the Brown case.
That is crazy. So backing up a little bit,
Okay.
we are going to, and I missed this. First of all, if what she's saying is a lot of information and you're like, your top is blown off, we're just scratching the surface of that. But tell the people who you are and your background and your accreditation and they need to know.
Okay. So I'm gonna fast
All of
forward.
it. All of it.
I'm gonna fast forward the story because it can be long. So I grew up born in the Bronx, raised in Mount Vernon, and like my husband and I like to do, money earned in Mount Vernon. You should think of like Denzel, Heavy D, Felicia Rashad, Debbie Allen, Betty Shabazz. We have Albie Shore, Misa, right? This is my town that I grew up in. 4 square miles. Pete Rock and Steel Smooth. I've been in their house, right? Pete Rock.
That's back when music was music.
Yeah.
Like, in case y'all don't know, I know some of y'all still kind of wet behind the ears, but go ahead.
And then Greg, his brother Grapp, like he and I high school together. His sister, my sister, best friends at one time. And Michelle. And so this is Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon, I grew up thinking that the whole world looked like that. Like I literally thought that it's black. The world looks like this. My parents are Jamaican. I was their first child born in the States, grandchild born in the States. And so I just assumed the world looked like this, that Jamaicans were around the corner. Yeah, I had white friends, I had Spanish friends, but everything was predominantly black. I mean, I was in humanities programs, those honors classes, and I went to Catholic school, so I was around a lot of white teachers, but that was like, oh yeah, that's just, and then my neighbor down the block, blah, 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 everything. So fast forward, I get a scholarship to go up to St. Lawrence University in upstate New York, and culture shock is in the state. If my high school was 2,400 students, my college was 2,000. If my high school was predominantly black, I'm saying probably about 80-90%. My college was 0.09% black. There was 60 plus of us in the whole school.
Not even 1%. Come on.
And so I was like, oh, no, Mom, I can't go to school. She was like, the award letter said free. So,
right?
And you got 3 younger sisters, so you're going. And I was like, but I don't want to. She's like, you're going. And it was a culture shock. It was explaining, what do you mean you don't wash your hair every day? It was like, oh, that's not how we talk. It was just different. It was like, oh my God, different. And so I told my mom, well, if you're gonna make me go, I'm gonna travel because study abroad programs. And so she was like, I don't care what you got to do.
As long as I got to pay for it.
And as long as we got to pay for it.
Right.
Figure it out. Because, you poor, but you don't know you poor. Like,
right.
We ain't for? Mom was like, I don't know what that's government cheese we for. I'm like, well, we live in a house.
Yeah,
But that's
everybody don't
cheese.
have that same cheese. I thought everybody had that same cheese in the cardboard box with the wax around it.
Come on, now.
It takes 5 minutes to melt. You mean
but it makes the best grilled cheese
What?
sandwich
Don't
on
it
the
go?
planet.
Come on, man.
You ain't never had a good
back when cheese was cheese.
Yeah, probably wasn't even real cheese.
No.
Because why just sit out in the cabinet?
And why, in order for you to melt it, you had to cook it for like an hour and a half.
Exactly.
You literally had to put the cheese
slices
on the skillet to start it melting, and then put it
the
on.
bread. And you gotta get them thin slices.
Oh yeah,
because if you get too
bet
thick,
not.
it ain't never gonna melt.
Oh yeah, you slice it too thick, your bread gonna catch on fire before that cheese melts.
Yes.
Yeah, I know.
So I didn't know. I remember, a side note, totally, because I went to Catholic school, and I went to Catholic school, so somebody paying for Catholic school didn't know that the Catholic school looked and was like, oh, your mama got 5 kids? Yeah, we're going to give one of these, like, a scholarship. So they sent us home with a basket of food. I was like, Mom, I don't know why they sent us home with this basket. She was like, shut your mouth.
And bring that food on up in here.
We're gonna have a great Thanksgiving. So so I was like, I want to go abroad, and I ended up going, applying to and going to Kenya. So at 20 years of age, I went abroad for the first time, and it was a 5-month program.
Oh, wow.
So I left in January and I came back in May, and I'm a teacher because it changed my entire life. That's the one thing I'll say. St. Lawrence made it that I didn't have any student loans, and it made it that I got to travel, and that I really delved deep into what it is I wanted to do. And so when I went to Kenya, I got to stay in Nairobi. I got to stay, which is their capital, and then I went to a rural area, Kisi, and then I went to the Samburu people. So it was a great experience, and I was like, yeah, okay, I know. I want to teach world history. I want to teach kids that America is great. America is great, but there's so many other great things out there too.
Yep.
And so
I've been saying that.
Yeah, America's great, but you got to see outside your door. And that's one of the things I tell my kids all the time. Go abroad. I don't care where you go. If your school has an abroad program, go.
I'm saying the same thing. I've traveled all over, and I tell people the same exact thing. Because at some point you have to interrupt the programming that we have had for so long, because we grew up and the message was, the programming was that America was here and everybody else was here. And as you travel and you get to see the world, you understand that the gap is not as far apart as you think it is. And at some point, and depending on what you're talking about, they're exceeding who we are and what we are.
Especially now.
Yeah. Oh, my. Yeah.
But where we are now is a whole nother ball of wax. So when I came back, I was going into my junior year, and I knew I wanted to teach now. My boyfriend back then, was in baseball, and he was going to travel a lot, and so I was like, okay, so I need a career that's going to match his, so we can travel, and so that was the great part of it, knowing right now, okay, I want to study history, and I'm going to be a teacher. And then I applied to grad school, and I applied all over, and I knew I wanted a degree, my master's degree, to be in African American history specifically. And I applied to Cornell's Africana Studies and Research Center program, another like great program. James Turner, our director, recently passed away. He was the foundation for program, and he was a 20-year-old man who staged a sit-in that caused the university to create this program that I was now going to be at. And we would sit at, I mean, he'd be making up words, and we'd be like, I mean, but we knew what he was talking about. He would just, James Turner. And I went there, and I knew I still wanted to do education. So the program was a great program, and I feel bad because that's really where his dismantling of education is going. It's going to happen in, so I tell people, I am absolutely an affirmative action baby. I don't care what anybody says. If it wasn't for affirmative action, I wouldn't have gotten it. So Clarence Thomas and all of them that are walking around with this badge of guilt on them or this feeling of inferiority, I don't have that because I got a good education because I was smart enough to do the program, and I deserve to go for free because of the circumstances that my ancestors went through. Don't get me started on affirmative action. So anyway, they've dismantled that, and that's where the problem is going to be because the program at Cornell was another one where I got a fellowship, so I didn't have to pay for grad school either. And wow. Yeah, and there was only like it was a small program of like they accepted maybe 6 kids, 6 students, and so shout out to my girlfriends, my Cornell sisters, which was great. And I studied. I wanted to do history. I wanted to do education, and I really wanted to understand the Brown case. So that's what that was. And you get 2 years, you have to teach a little. And I wrote this master's thesis, and I still think about it today because it's funny. That was back in 1996. And many of the things that I was thinking of back then are things that people are talking about now. So tons of people now have written books about, do we really need to talk about integration? What did we lose? We gained access to certain things, but we lost that village. We lost educators. We lost, we sacrificed our babies. The fact that, so many people don't know Black history.
Right.
That would have come from us being able to create our own curriculum. And when they did that integration, we were basically pulled out of our safe homes, our schools, our teachers, and placed into hostile environments that basically said, your history is like that. Your history. No. And we had good schools. I mean, we had really, of course, they always go back to the shanty-looking schools with the one room and all the kids and the whole boards and the blah, blah, blah. We had that. But we also had really good schools with great teachers. Because if we didn't, again, Thurgood Marshall, Ida B. Wells, like all these HBCUs, even Booker T. Washington, like all of these people were educated in segregated schools. So how bad could they have been? And we sacrificed our history for it.
Do you think that so with it being this day and age and what they're doing, I read something the other day that they passed a law in 18 different states where they are removing Black history. How is that? Do you think it'll get to a point to where it'll start affecting you and your ability to teach?
I mean, it's crazy because you are probably one of maybe about 5 or 6 people who have asked me this in the last 2 weeks. Because, so fast forward, leave Cornell, Marvin and I get married. He says, where do you want to live? I don't want snow, tornado, earthquake, fires. Arizona.
I was going to say, look.
I eliminated everywhere.
Everywhere. Right. That was like 49 states out the window.
Right.
He was like, well, baby. And then he was with the Colorado Rockies at the time. And I had gone to Tucson. I was like, yeah, no.
I lived in Tucson for a year.
No, I was like, look, no. And I said, I done did small, rural, Canton, St. Louis, New York. No. And he was like, well, Phoenix isn't like that, babe. and we literally drove up on I-10, got off on Chandler Boulevard, and I still live in the same neighborhood. Like that's literally how we bought our house. It was I didn't even get past Chandler Boulevard. I was like, okay.
And what year was that?
97.
For me to put that in perspective, because I came here in '94. In
Nothing.
94, 3 years prior to her moving up here, the I-10 ended at baseline. And Floyd knows because he's from here. It was all cotton fields along there.
Oh yeah. I called my mother and I said, Ma, I said, there's a cotton field out in front of my house. She said, pack it all on up there and come on home.
We out of here. Next thing you know, you're going to be picking it.
No, she's like, you can't stay there. And I was like, Mom. She's like, no. She's like, I don't know what you're doing. And Chandler was one lane in each direction.
Yep.
And there was a junkyard where Pecos Park is. And I was like, and the biggest thing was Target. And I didn't and I was like, okay. And I went into Target after I had my daughter, and I was like, I need a black baby. And they were like, we've got to go to the south side. And I said, you want me to drive all the way over there to get a black baby for my daughter? Yeah, that's when I knew I was in.
Yeah.
So.
And now look at it. Like it's
huge.
It is huge.
I always want to go to those like concerts and stuff, like the rodeos thing, and I'm like, where the heck are all these black people from? This is spread out.
The black rodeo. It's crazy because when I first moved here, we made less than 1% of the probably right at 1% of the population, and I don't know why. But it felt like it was more black people then than it is now. And I think the reason why is that we had more stuff to do to where you can see them in one place.
Oh, you mean see everyone?
Yeah.
Okay, so because that 1%.
yeah.
Everyone. Okay.
Everyone. Because we had clubs back then where you got dressed. You know, and a lot of people that was out here were from the Midwest, that was from the New Yorks and the the different places like that. So they were used to, when I go out, I'm putting on slacks and a button up. And that's, like you said, the Jetson sticks, the suede, the what else do we have out here? Suede.
I know there was a little Jamaican place down in Old Town Scottsdale.
Where?
It was like a little like hole in the wall Jamaican music in Old Town Scottsdale.
Oh, Mabel Murphy.
That's it.
Mabel Murphy, bro. Oh yeah. Oh, and then we had a little bit after that, Oscar Taylor's came. Then we had the Buzz. On the holiday weekend was packed. Yeah, we done had some clubs come through here. We done had some clubs.
But I lived in all white Tukey. And I
you did.
have been
That's when it was like white.
But Mountain Point was always diverse, which is why I've been there for so long.
Yeah, so, it really was.
Always.
Because they were bringing in kids from the South
Side, Maricopa.
Yeah, Maricopa.
All of that. So when I started there, I was like, this feels okay. Now you were in the building, you saw a bunch of black kids, and we had those are my best years at Mountain Point. My first couple, because them kids were like, I'm living in the building.
And Mountain Point at the time she got there in '97 was only 5 years old. Because I coached with Coach K there at '96. And it was 4 years old. So
and I wasn't even at that. I didn't get to Mountain Point until 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it was still like just. And so I was the only black female teacher in the building at different times that I was there. The other time that there was another black special ed teacher, female. Do you remember Steve Lawson?
Yeah.
Okay, Steve Lawson was my neighbor. He was the only like black teacher, custodians black, but black male teachers there, or they were security guards, or they were the coaches.
Yeah.
So he was my neighbor and was great. We would sit, he's like, I'd come in, be like a little piece of chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, it was only yeah. Because I forgot her name, but she was the girls track coach.
Anna Battle,
Adam.
because Battle then went over to TV.
Yeah,
And she became
because the year I left, the year after I left, Coach K went over to McClintock, I believe. But yeah, that was I was really shocked at when I started the school there because I was security slash uh, uh, assistant basketball coach at Mountain Point High School, and I was like, and I knew Awatuki, like you really,
you could go days without this.
yeah. And
then you
if
go in the
you
building.
someone that owned a home in Awatuki, he's like, you rich, like you got money, you must be married to an athlete or you an athlete because really and truly, bro, that's what that's what I was. All white Tukey.
All white Tukey. That's what the kids told me when I got there. They were like, Miss Austin, you don't live in no all white Tukey. And I'm like, wait, what? And they were like, our Tukey, all white. I said, but you go to school here. We don't live over here. This is
we're bucked in. We're bucked in.
And I loved every minute because like my first day, I told Steve, I said, hey, can I take over the BSU? Can I help you with BSU? Because he was their sponsor, BSU Black Student Union. And he was like, you can take all of it. And I was like, okay. Had my first meeting. The room was packed, wall to wall. Kids were like, there's a Black woman in the building and she want to do stuff with us. We ran a talent show, diversity assembly. We had festivals. We had stilt walkers. We had a steel drum. We did all kinds of stuff because the kids were just like, I know. And that's what I mean about Black history. He can try whatever he wants to try and put it back into the box. It's not going to go back in the box. It's not. The reason, so when I went to Mount Point, I taught African American history. I walked in, saw an issue, all these Black kids, they're not going to learn. I wrote it because at my high school in Mount Vernon, that class had been there since the 70s. So I was just like, well, isn't this a course taught everywhere? And they were like, no. And so I was like, well, okay, well, then I'll write it. And luckily, my district was that district that was like, if you think you can do it, you got the credentials, go on and do it. So I taught it, wrote it, taught it, and started small. They were like, only 12 kids signed up. We'll let you have it, see what you can do with it. And now we have 2 sections of it every year. And now the kids can get dual enrollment credit. So that's college credit through Rio Salado. And then they can take the AP exam. And so when George Floyd, COVID happened, they had been already planning an African American course of some sort through AP. But when that happened, they accelerated and they would say, this is the first one we're going to do. And I like heard about it and I was like, I gotta get it. Because I knew that what I was teaching was good, but I wanted the bite of a national platform that would support and have curriculum that I could stand on. So yeah, they could try, but I'm going to say to them, okay, here's my curriculum. This is Ida B. Wells. This is Frederick Douglass. This is County Cullen. This is like all of this historical. Here's this image. Here's this thing. Here's this music. Tell me how any of this is false. If you can tell me that these people didn't write this, design this, create this, sing this, dance this, if you can tell me that I made this up, then I'll stop teaching it. I'm waiting.
You don't think that they can strong arm you as far as like threatening your job?
Can I tell you a funny story?
Yeah.
So this has got to be, I don't know exactly when it was, 2011. I won't say any names, actually, I don't remember the kid's name. I was teaching the same course, not AP, but regular African American history. This probably has me in trouble. But anyway, I was teaching it, and this little girl was not doing well in the class, and her mom had called me and said, actually what she did was call a bunch of people, and they kept saying, what you're saying is true. She was saying that I was teaching the kids anyway. And she was telling them that I was one of the kids to dress up like a slave. Now, the people within the building who have known me by this point for 12 years or 11 years were like, no, I don't know what the daughter's telling you, but you need to talk to Miss Alston. So what was happening, what kids do, I mean, I just had this problem a couple of weeks ago. Why are you failing the class? Miss Alston, she didn't tell me. I turned to this. So what she told her mom is that she didn't feel comfortable in the class. And so, and I'm going to say I taught the N word, but I taught them why they shouldn't say it. So we would do this. I called it the name game. We would write all the things that Black people have been called over the years, all of them. And I said, and then we would give the history of why they were good. And the N word was always on that list. And I always said, you cannot say this word. I said, you can't say it for a lot of reasons. I said, but the big one, the one that makes my ears scratch every time I hear it, is that I see young Black men and women being lynched. I see them being castrated. I see their businesses being burned down. Because as they're doing all of that, they were calling them that word. So what you're not going to do is tell me that that word is my friend. Due respect, you can say it to each other, you can say it to whomever, but don't say it in front of me. And especially if you're in high school and you haven't taken my class and you don't know what it means and you haven't learned the history of it, don't say it in my presence. So that's what the whole thing was. So of course she didn't tell her mom that. And then I would make them do these things called monologues. I don't even do it anymore, but where I would give them historical figures and then they had to come in and speak as if they were them. And I said, you can dress however you feel to evoke it. Well, of course, mom told her mom, she makes me dress up. So the mom called me and I'm like, I said, how about we sit down? Because I know how to talk to Black moms because I'm a Black mom. So I'm like, look, I'm not doing this. Come in and talk. We'll sit down and talk. I mean, I was like, okay, just come in. I'm taking the kids on a field trip to an HBCU college fair at Phoenix College tomorrow, but come in on Thursday. That wasn't good enough. So she called my principal, my registrar. They both got intercepted by their assistants who said, call Miss Alston. She called the district. The district told her, you're going to have to write a formal complaint because we know this woman is not doing this thing. But write a formal complaint. We'll look into it. That wasn't good enough. It's called Channel 3 News. So if you look it up, you can probably still find it. She called Channel 3 News. Channel 3 News is south of the mountain. I was like, I can't believe I'm in the news. Now, what could have happened if I had a different principal under different circumstances?
Yeah.
But do you remember Bruce?
Yeah.
Bruce was like, come in here. Come here.
Yep.
Come here.
I can hear him now.
Tell me what happened. And I told him. He says, all right, that's what I thought. He was like, I just got off the phone with the director for the NAACP. He wanted to know what you up in there doing. I said, tell him. He's like, I already told him that that's what you're doing, but I just need to hear from your voice. He's like, you good. Don't talk to the news. It's going to go away, blah, blah, blah. So the mom sat on the news with her kid's face blacked out. I felt so bad. The kids in the school were like, Miss Alston, I was like, don't do that. It's not her fault. Her mother wanted 5 minutes of fame. Don't do that. People will go low. But the reason I tell you this, put my story on blast, is parents were coming by, giving me their business cards. If you need a lawyer here, this is my personal lawyer. Let me know what I need to do. My daughter said da 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 da. So for me, I think I'm good because who I am to my kids, who I am to my parents, who I am to them, I think I'm good. Will the state possibly, if we can keep a Democratic governor, I should be okay. If we get another Ducey, no. If Tom Horn, if he states he might try and do a little something, but he doesn't. Our state is local. School districts are local, So our school district, he would have to come in and have our school district. Um, I stand on the fact that I think my curriculum is okay. Would I probably have to sweat it out? I mean, do you remember down in Tucson they were going after the Chicano class? That was back a couple of years ago. It was going after ethnic classes, and again, same thing. This also is my personal lawyer, blah 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 blah. We got your back. Is the support that I get. So, and I was like, they're not coming after us. Black people in Arizona, they're not afraid of us. They're afraid of the Hispanics. Now, maybe now that our population has grown a little bit more, there could be, but we haven't massed political power. And I don't know if, I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Now, in other states, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think, kind of piggybacking on that, do you think the reason why they're not as afraid of us is because we don't even realize the power that we have?
I think so here. It's kind of interesting. I took my kids on a field trip, great field trip. Great trip. Kids loved it. Did you know that Arizona had 2 sundowns?
I knew about one.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Did you know Phoenix or the East Valley, this area that we live in the valley, has sundown?
No, I did not.
Okay, which one do you think we had? Everybody's always going to go for the one, and that's always accurate. Where's the one place that after dark you would try to do that?
Pasadena.
No. Oh my God, really? Scottsdale. Every ticket I've ever gotten has been in Scottsdale. That's a scary place at night. Oh my God, yeah. The police.
Every
what you doing in
ticket I
Scottsdale?
had is in Scottsdale, which is one.
Right?
Scottsdale is a sundown town.
Scottsdale was a sundown town. Yes, I thought that's where you would go first. Yes, Scottsdale was a sundown town. Straight up. Wow. If I had brought my green book, I would have shown you where Black people had to run to go get away from Scottsdale. Scottsdale was a sundown town. Tempe was a sundown town. Tempe, Arizona was a sundown town. And I found that out from people who were from here.
Yes. I've lived in Tempe all the years.
How long ago was it?
It's got to be about the same time, 30s or 40s. And Mesa. Sundown town.
Somebody was telling me that there's still, is it going toward Vegas?
Absolutely.
There's a sundown town. All right, for our viewers that might not know what sundown towns is, could you explain what I know what it is? You know what it is.
Okay,
explain to them what a sundown town
towns come out of, if you're Black and you are in our town, then you need to get out before the sun goes down. Plug for one of my favorite TV series.
Give me
HBO.
Give me a show.
Oh
to
my
watch.
gosh, I just lost it. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
But there's a great scene in there. Wow, I was just listening. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna come back to it. It's like 2 seconds, gonna pop up.
You're gonna have a Tourette moment watching.
Right. Yep.
That's what it was.
Yep. So there were sundown towns all throughout, and what Black people had to do was figure out where they could go. So this comes from the Great Migration. It comes from a whole lot of stuff, but ultimately, as Black people leave the South and migrate out, violence, agriculture, the boll weevil, all this other stuff that's happening in the South, they move out into other parts. They go, which is probably, like I was going to ask you, so your family's from Arizona. Where are they originally from? Yeah. See? Because they leave the South and they are searching for safety. So they're going to go north. So if you, like my husband's family is from South Carolina, you're going to go New York. So anywhere between, on the East Coast, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, you go to New York, you go to New Jersey, you get out of the South. If you are Alabama, Mississippi, that whole corridor up, you're going to go to Detroit.
Chicago.
St. Louis, Chicago.
Yep.
If you are from, if you are in California, right, you're going to be Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana. So they went this way out, right? And they left millions. It's the largest migration of people in the world, voluntary migration of people. If you want to read a great book, Warmth of Other Suns by Isabella Wilkins, great book. It will explain to you everything. And she talks about that movement. So as they're moving out, they need, how do I travel? Because the thing that has been invented, particularly around the 1920s, is the automobile. We're building roadways and highways and byways. So I want to go visit my family back in, Mississippi. How am I going to get from St. Louis, Chicago to Mississippi, sundown town? So there's a guy who comes up with the Green Book. And in the Green Book, he gives them stop here, stay here, eat here.
Like an atlas.
It's Black Atlas. And he published it from, I'm probably going to be wrong on the dates. I'm not a date teacher. I'm more a fact teacher. It's going to be from like the 1930s all the way to another thing, right? And Arizona's in it. So when I was like my hometown, Mount Vernon is in it. It's like, yeah, because if you were trying to get too far north, like now we're talking White Plains, Scarsdale, Poughkeepsie, that part of New York. But anyway, so Mount Vernon was a stop place too. And so here in Phoenix, guess where? Where would be the place that people would go? I kind of gave it away when I just said, where specifically would Black people want to go to get away from, be safe? What part of Arizona? What part of Phoenix? Too far. Where? Same place it is now. Same place. Yeah. So it's from Van Buren all the way to the mountains. Right? So the field trip starts in the Scottsdale at Scottsdale Stadium because the Red Sox were there, and a guy by the name of Pumpsy played for the Red Sox, and he would not stay in Scottsdale. The team stayed there, but he couldn't because Scottsdale was sundown town. 1940, right after Jackie Robinson breaks the color line for baseball.
Like 46?
And 46, 47. And the Red Sox are the last team to have a Black player. And so he's on this team. He's not allowed to stay in Scottsdale. He's got to go 17 miles to get out of where they were all the way down. It is 17 because we just did it again. But he has to get down there. So what I do with the kids is we go up there and then we take the route that he would go. And we go down Scottsdale Avenue, we hit Van Buren, and we drive all the way till we get to Washington and Jefferson, and then go place by place. Okay, so quiz. There was the first Black church, one of the first Black church, Baptist church in Arizona, is no longer there. What structure is now on it? That the church still exists, but they moved the church further down.
Is it on the south side?
It's right there on Jefferson and Washington. What are the three big churches down there?
Well, you have Pilgrim, you have First Institution, and you have
Tanner. I'm almost positive. Yeah. So the structure is the parking lot. You know the parking lot across the street from Chasefield Chasefield?
Yeah.
If you go down there, if you ever go to a baseball game, if you go right across from the stadium, there's a marker right there. Stop and read the marker. The marker will tell you that the church was there and that the church moved down. And it says
So where Tanner is now?
first, yeah, Tanner's the First Baptist.
Yeah.
Tanner Baptist Church, right? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So yeah, where the church is there now was moved there. Yeah, it was moved there. So the marker sits there and it says, here was the First Baptist Church in Arizona. It's a markers right there. So the kids then have to get off the bus, and I make them look for all the places that are in the green book. And so the other one that got taken away was there was a beauty supply store, a barber shop, and other things. And that's what Chase did.
That is crazy.
And we get back to the bus. We go down to Carnegie, Washington Museum. And the kids walk around, they talk to Dr. Whitaker. They get to see what that looked like. That was the first black school, segregated. And which is always so funny because it's segregated, and Dr. Whitaker told me it was segregated, but Asian and Hispanic kids. So the white kids went across by the Science Center, and then the black kids, Hispanic kids, and Asian kids.
My question, like, do you think that's something that we should do now? It's
What,
like
document all this?
with what they're trying to do as far as getting rid of Black history. Do you think that that's a calling sign where it's time for us now to start opening up Black schools and
Yeah.
kind of go that route of maybe like
Get
the
more
Black Wall
educated.
Street type of
I
feel?
think what we should do. Did you hear a couple of years ago? A couple of years ago, a family in Georgia bought 90 acres of land,
Right. I heard about that.
and they want it. They're trying to make basically their own community. They want a fire department. They want their own security, police, blah blah blah. I want to be your superintendent of education, so just call me. I would love to.
We actually have somebody there. We did an interview with her. What's her name? That's from here. That's living in Atlanta now.
Oh, Natasha.
We need to put her in touch with her.
I would love to help them with school. I would. Because okay, so there's a couple of thoughts. If you can move and find our community, our people, do it. I think I love it now that we keep saying, no, we're resting. You run this. You broke it, you fix it. I firmly believe that this is not our time. Our time to fix what's ailing America is not our problem. That's why I'm saying, you want to close the museum? Close it. You already made the mistake of opening the museum. You already did that. So I'm not going to forget seeing Emmett Till's casket. I'm not going to forget sitting at the counter. And if you didn't get that opportunity to do it, this is where we as a community need to teach each other. We need to open those books. Those books are there. We just have to go find it. People are writing them. So we need mentorship. I would love, actually, now that I got you both on the spot, I would love for you guys to come to my school. I have some Black men, young men, who need to see that there's more to life than sagging pants. And I'm okay with that. Sag your pants, but put something in your brain while you're sagging the pants. Dress however you want, do whatever you want. Run around chasing that girl. But at the end of the day, you need to be gaining something. I have some young men that are in my class that I call their parents. I worry about them. I tell them every day, I worry about you because you're going to get left behind. They want you in prison. Why do they want you in prison? Do you know why our prison system the way it is? So that you can work.
And break up the Black household.
Break up the Black household and work. You are working. If you don't know what work is outside, you will learn what work is on the inside.
I would love to do it. Yeah. I would love to do it. I would love to bring them in here. And that's my next question for you. Is what can Shoes Off Talk? What can Flight Studios do in the way of assisting our community in keeping it pushing, being able to be one of the
Lovecraft Country. I knew I was gonna remember.
See, I told you a right moment.
Yeah.
Lovecraft Country. Have you seen it?
Lovecraft Country, y'all. If
It's
put,
on
put
HBO.
this on your
It
to
is
watch.
the most beautiful. Remember when I tell you about Sinners? I did talk to you about it a little bit before. So Sinners to me has so many answers to the questions that we're trying to figure out. And Lovecraft Country is also has done that. It is giving you all of those stories. Like literally everything that I'm talking about right now is in Lovecraft Country because it's colorism, it's sundown towns, it's empowerment, it's the Green Book, it's futurism, Black futurism, it's how Black couple, it's Black love, it's got a little bit of vampires, it's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's 9 episodes of beautiful Black existence. Excellent.
Like a sci-fi.
It is a sci-fi, but it's
Lovecraft Country, y'all. If y'all haven't watched it, go watch it.
Okay, so back to your question. You were gonna say that you asked them, what can you
do? Flight Studios.
do?
We've always said this is that we want to be the soapbox for the voiceless. We want to be the soapbox for keeping the information flowing. And so I'm putting this out there to you and anyone you know that, like you said, the cat's out of the bag. You know, the one resource that I love is Instagram. I mean, not Instagram, TikTok.
I'm not on TikTok yet, but Instagram
I love TikTok because I think TikTok is one of the places they still haven't been able to control. And so there's so much information as it pertains to what we talked about today. Like, you can get out, like, you would love TikTok because you put in a search engine like the Green Book, and it'll bring up people that have downloaded like actual videos and information. I've gotten so much information off TikTok.
I might try that because I've been trying to figure out how to get off of Instagram.
To TikTok.
Because I don't like MAGA. What does he call it? MAGA.
What is it called?
What is it called?
TikTok and Facebook. Meta.
Yeah.
And they just, all they did was replace the T with a G and an A. But TikTok, love it. When I say a wealth of information, and you know what's crazy, and I told somebody this other day, is like when you go to other countries, they have Facebook, they have Instagram, they have TikTok. But what their TikTok and their Facebook and all their social media platforms are is all educational. It's all DIY. It's all, they don't have access to, you literally have to almost kind of like pirate a VPN to access what we see.
Really?
It is completely out. You open up Facebook over there, it's all like good news stuff. It's all DIY. Oh no.
So that means you mean when Mark Zuckerberg likes to say that, oh, we can't because it's not true. He could.
No, they have us on an algorithm that appeals to our senses, and it's sex, violence, controversy, spending, frivolous spending, hate, all of that, and and they know what they're doing because those are the subliminal messages that ingrain us and program us. But when you go to other countries, bro, like when I was in Thailand, like you ain't accessing none of that. It's all like, you're like, okay, this is pleasant.
I'm gonna have to go on because people send me stuff all the time, and I don't know why I didn't like TikTok, but I'm gonna try. You're the first person to say it that way. Most people just like it's got, because they always sound like it was a cooking show, and I was like, I don't know.
TikTok is I love it. I love it because it's just a wealth of information. And not like if you put in, the Green Book,
Mm.
it's gonna be 100 different videos where somebody historically is talking about the Green Book. They're gonna show pictures of the Green Book. They're gonna show excerpts from the Green. It's got to do it.
Okay, I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna look into it.
Man, this was my brain hurt.
I know, right?
Like I had a ton of questions.
I want to give another one. Green Root. Have you been to no, the black-owned business that is over by? She's gonna kill me. There's this woman. I don't remember her name again. I'm gonna have another moment where she has like 60 something businesses in her structure, and there's a black-owned bookstore here in Arizona, and it's right over between Jefferson and Washington, and it's I want to call it the bookstore is called I want to call it Green Roots, but I don't think that's it. I was just looking at the flyer for it.
Oh, it's down there in the historic.
Yeah,
there's a historic place.
Yeah.
Somebody was telling me about that.
It is. I walked in there.
It's a bookstore. It has a little area where you can go in
and
there.
then the woman that runs it she allows kind of like what you guys have here, but like booths that people can rent out. She's got like, people selling jewelry, people selling African clothes, people sell this, people selling, and there is so like I walk in there and I'm like I need to. Somebody hold my credit card because I'm gonna just like I bought I don't know probably like $100+ more of books. Sorry, hon. Of books, and I didn't even get like African clothes and all of it. It's a great space, and that's where else I took the kids. Because what I think our children in Arizona, to answer your question, need to see is that blackness comes in all shapes, sizes, all interests. I think I have had here this sadness that our kids, the girls think everything is reality TV. Mm-hmm. And the boys think everything is sports. They don't know the other, and it's not sports music. I grew up with the guys doing music too, but the guys that were doing music then, when they were doing hip hop back in the day, it was just coming out. Like, it was like, oh yo, I mean, Heavy D Dwight, went to my same high school. So we saw them on the ground level, and these were not like, this is why their raps were so great. They weren't stupid.
No, very educational.
Like Tupac wasn't, the reason that we love him and still talk about him, Biggie, they weren't stupid. They were educated. Right. It's like these kids today, they want to do that stuff, but they don't know how to get, like, they don't know that this is a business. This is a business, and they need to see that Black men own businesses. Mm-hmm. They are doing all that stuff. They're making good money. They're not working for the man, and sometimes they are. They're doing both. They're marrying. They're having kids. They're doing. That's what our kids need to see. That's what I want. And that's why I say that Georgia thing with the 99 acres, because that's what we need to do. We need to have, like, let them still go to school, but on Saturday we need to have, like, okay, here's a book. Let's have a book club. Everybody read their section of the book. The whole family sits down and reads the book together, watching movies that are not just, drugs and violence and stuff like that, but like, Lovecraft Country. Sinners, I told you, I've already seen it.
What is your review on Sinners? I love it. I went and saw it twice.
You did? So did you like it the second time?
I saw it twice because I felt like after I was hearing people talk, I was like, shoot, I think I missed something. And it was because there's a lot of symbolism that's in that movie that if you're not familiar with your Black history, you will miss that. And so for me, I was going on like TikTok and I was just hearing people say certain things about the movie. I was like,
that was in it?
I gotta go see that again. And sure enough, I'm like, okay, I missed that symbolism. And I think when it comes to movies like that, it's so important, almost if you don't know it, to almost kind of do your research before you go watch it, because it enhances your viewing experience when you know why they're saying a certain thing. You know why they're doing a certain thing. You know why.
You catch the nuances, like when he goes into, spoiler alert, when he goes into the barn that they're about to buy,
Mm-hmm.
six, and they're going into the barn, and he gets on the ground. He's like, "What happened here?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, we changed it. We just changed it." He's like, "Listen," he's like, "Don't ever come back to my property after this." That was they were lynching men in there,
And they knew it.
Mm.
And they knew it.
and the vampire was the one who confirmed that they were coming back to get you the next day.
Yeah.
He says to them, "Look, come on over and be a vampire." Basically, what the vampire was offering was like
Look, we trying to help you.
We're gonna help you out. We're gonna.
And he told him. He said the dude told you there was no KKK in the area. They are the KKK.
In the area.
Actually, he is the Grand Master of the KKK. and during the movie, the vampire was so convincing. I'm like, well, maybe it ain't too bad to be a vampire.
That's one of the commentaries that I heard of the review. They were like, the challenge with the title is that we're all sinners in some way, and we all have a good side, even the vampire, because the vampire was offering the opportunity to get back revenge, baby.
Yeah,
revenge. I love that movie. I'm gonna go see it again. I want to see it in the IMAX theater. I heard that.
That's what might make me go see it a third time.
Yeah, because I want to see it.
They're bringing it back out in IMAX because it originally, in certain areas, were initially viewed at IMAX and then they took it away. And I think is what they were trying to capture all the audience. They wanted people to get in and see it.
Most people I've seen now have seen it at least.
Yeah.
Everybody's done twice. Yeah. That's why it's making the money it's making. You hear that it's even already an Oscar, like it's out there that it could get an Oscar now.
Pretty much everybody in the movie that had a part dang near deserves an Oscar.
Yeah.
Or an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Have you seen it yet? Floyd!
Oh, I've been like, well, we don't know the end. We won't tell you the end.
We over here telling the whole movie.
Spoiler alert.
Yep. Our bag.
But you still don't know. You don't know. You just know. You know what to
We're
expect.
making you aware
of some things.
To pay attention. Don't go in there tired. Don't go in there right after work. Get you a nap.
Yeah. And even there's a whole Asian component that most people are like, Asians. I'm like, Asians. This is when you don't know your history because the Asians were there. Who do you think built the railroads? When they could no longer have black people doing it for free, they then were like, why did we have the Chinese Exclusion Act? We have the Chinese Exclusion Act because there were so many Chinese coming over and they didn't know where to put them. And this family is able to do both. They have two stores, one for the whites and one for the blacks.
Yep, right across the street from each other. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Wow.
And that actually is a segue into another show I want to do, to where we talk about the other ethnicities and nationalities and how they are ingrained into our Black history. People, I'm letting you know, we aren't as separated and divided as you think we are. Little Susie has black in her.
You don't even know why you're laughing.
No.
Stop. We no more. Anyway, oh my God, I love this show.
Mm-hmm.
But
okay,
I'm so proud of Brother Floyd. Floyd, hand it here. Floyd has a book.
And it's a futuristic book.
Futuristic book. So when you brought up futuristic, I was like, oh, that's my book.
Oh my! I'm going on a little road trip. Is this for me? Are you like that? No, it's not ready out yet.
Not yet.
I want to see. When we see. Okay, I'm gonna have to look for this, Mr. Floyd.
Yeah.
But you know who you following in the footsteps of? Octavia Butler.
Oh.
Kindred.
Okay.
And give us who that is, and after she tell us who it is.
No, go ahead. I'll tell you.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, this is like I say, it's an Afro-futuristic, sci-fi type of film. What it is more so of a young woman who pretty much get to a point in her life that she started to get information about her ancestry, for the old days, what is happening, in their family, and stuff like that. And so now, getting, how we get hear voices and hear things about grandma speaking, when she's not there, she passed on, but that whole imagery of grandma saying this, about your ancestry and all that stuff. So pretty much that's what it's talking
I
about.
like it.
Yeah.
Okay, you have definitely got to look into Octavia Butler's Kindred. They just did a movie. I hope they come out with a second one. I doubt it because anything is too good. But it's kind of that thing but she gets put past.
Okay.
And how her family's intertwined with this other family. It is amazing. But it's that same. I love futuristic, and that's why you'll really like Lovecraft Country because it has everything. Yeah. I like that. I like that. I'm gonna look into that.
We've given away some information regarding Sinners. Go see it. I actually had to low-key check one of my relatives who made a comment that was not in support of the movie Sinners. And I just had to let him know is like, you really need to understand your Black history before you're able to really give a justified critique of this movie.
Mm-hmm. And for those people who are thinking it's demonic, the devil, no. I mean, the title of The Sinner is less about church and more about humanity.
And it's such a deep dive into, pulls back the curtain on a lot of stuff as it relates to Black history. Floyd, when I tell you, like when I talk about Black history, I'm drained. You're mentally, physically, spiritually.
And you stayed through all of the end credits.
Don't leave when the credits start rolling. Stay.
Think of Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay. I gotta go see it again. Who wants to go see Sinners with me? Somebody chime in. We should do a group. Ooh. When do you come back from LA?
I'm doing a quick turn. I'll be back on Monday. I'm doing a crazy. I'm going to see the concert and come back right away.
Let's try to midweek next week.
Can you figure out where it's playing in IMAX? I want to see it in IMAX.
I'm pretty sure it's IMAX is probably going to be Mills. Mills will probably be
okay, yeah.
So I want to put a group together to go see Sinners. And we can have a conversation before we go in and kind of prep people for it. So that's what we're doing. I'm gonna work on it. You work on it. Erica should be back in town. We're gonna grab Treese and all of them, and we're gonna do it.
I love it.
All right, y'all. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. We went over time a little bit, but I don't care about going over time when it comes to passing on information, education, inspiring, and motivating.
Can I give one more plug before I leave?
One more. Go ahead.
Find out why your school doesn't have an AP African American Studies. Find out why your school does not have an AP African.
You heard that.
You don't have to be a Black teacher. There are tons of white teachers around this country teaching that class. Brophy has that class. So there's two in the state. Brophy and Mountain Point. Brophy, the white upper class,
yes,
private all-boys school, has that class. And that tells you somebody going to know your history before you do.
And that's the thing about TikTok is that you're going to see a lot of people that don't look like us that know our history in and out. Yeah.
I get that class. Get that class.
So find out why your school parents Don't be belligerent about it, but find out why your school does not offer AP African American Studies. Oh man, this was amazing.
Wow.
Natasha, thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you for inviting me. I'm glad I finally did it.
Yes.
That was a lot of wealth of information.
This will be one of many segments that we will do. I am putting this out here to you. Is Flight Studios Shoes Off Talk is your home whenever you want to do anything. You need a platform. There's something pop in your head at night, and you like, look, I need to tell the world. I need the platform to talk about this. You now have a open door to Flight Studios, Shoes Off Talk. Hell, we can even create your own podcast. Y'all might not get to see her because I think she might just do hers radio version to where you just hear her and not see her. But man, we see these are the pioneers that we need. We need the Natasha. We need other people. We need people to continue and carry on, these legacies in our history. I hate reading books. I've never been a reader. I ain't gonna
Audible.
Okay. Yeah. I've done audio. I will do audio. I don't know. It's just I'm not gonna put them letters out there, but yeah, but anyway, we appreciate everybody tuning in, man. We don't take, you giving us your time for granted. We're very appreciative of any time that we get of yours. You guys and everywhere. We want to say thank you again to Natasha for giving us just an inkling of what she has stored in that mighty brain of hers. But we have some segments coming. So if you guys have any questions for her, you can message us on Shoes Off Talk. You can get in touch with her directly.
Through email. Yes, email. NN Alston at gmail.com.
Okay, do that again without the stuttering. She said N.
So it's NNALSTON at gmail.com.
And that's any questions. If you have any questions about how to go about possibly doing or what have you, or Black History questions, or how to get involved in the community, you can direct that to her. If you can't, if you didn't remember, you can always contact us, message us. We will get the information to her. But we appreciate you guys tuning in, and how we end all shows. Love, peace, and soul.
Oh, I love
Take your shoes off at the door, yeah, we getting real. Talking all the things they say you shouldn't feel. From locker room truths to capital lies. That you sleep into the questions, who's this guy? Shoes off, lean in, take a breath, take a seat. Where the truth walks free and the wrong minds meet. No filters, no front, just the heart of the talk. Welcome to the space where the brave ones walk. Religion and redemption, business and the hustle. Life hits hard, we unpack the struggle.